Hey, amazing students. So, today is your Unit 7 exam. I highly recommend watching this video because I looked at the exam and made this video right afterwards. So, I'm going to review 3 things and then you'll take your exam for today. Students, you do not have unlimited time to take your exam. If you do not finish, you have seminar, but that is it. By the end of the school day, this exam is due. First question, find the positive solution. Pause before we even finish the question. What does solution mean for a quadratic? X-intercept, 0, root, all that great stuff, of 3x squared plus 20x minus 7. To find the solution, I'm going to need to factor this. Now, in previous videos, we were able to see that each number was divisible by the same thing, but that's not the case here. So we're going to use AC splitting method. So multiply A times C, so the product is negative 21. And you need to know how to factor because there's multiple factor questions on the test. The B value is 20, so the sum of 20. So I'm going to figure out what two numbers multiply to get me negative 21, but add to get me 20. Well, I have 1 and 21, and I can stop there, right? Because if it's going to add to get me 20, but multiply to get me negative 21, this has to be it, where the 1 is negative. This would add to get me 20, but multiply to get me negative 21. So I'm going to split my middle term. So this is going to be 3x squared minus 1x plus 21x minus 7. Group these. So what's my greatest common factor? It'll be 1x. So that'll be 3x minus 1, right? Because if I multiply this out, that's what it would give me here. What's the greatest common factor here? 7. 7 times 3x will get me 21x. 7 times negative 1 will get me negative 7. And remember, your goal is to get the same thing in the parentheses. So my two factors are x plus 7, and what was in the parentheses? 3x minus 1. So these are my two factors. What do I do with my factors to find my solution, my x-intercept 0 by root? I'm going to set it equal to 0. And why am I setting it equal to 0? Because at the zeros on a graph, the y values are 0. So I set my y equal to 0. Set my two factors equal to 0 and solve. Minus 7. So one factor is negative 7. Add 1. Divide by 3. X equals 1/3. So here's my two zeros, but ask for the positive one, so my answer would be x equals 1/3. And I can always check my answer by graphing this in Desmos. But again, you do have to show your work. And again, there's multiple factoring questions, so you do need to know how to factor. For what value of... Oh, let me fix this really quickly. All right, for what value of b, I left the b out, will x squared plus bx plus 196 have if negative 14 is only 0? So I'm looking for b. And I'm given the information that negative 14 is its only 0. What's a 0 again? X-intercept. So that means if I was to graph this, at negative 14, this is only going to hit the graph at that point. Remember, this is called a double root. So at negative 14, as it's only 0, that means that's the only time it's going to hit the x-axis. So there's multiple ways you can solve this. But if I know that negative 14 is only 0, x-intercept, negative 14 is a what value then? An x value. And what is the y value at this point? 0. So at this point, it is negative 14, 0. If my equation is y equals x squared plus bx plus 196, what can I do with this x and y value here to figure out b? Plug it in, plug it in. So I'm going to plug in 0 for y and negative 14 for x. And solve for b. So negative 14 squared, and notice I have that in parentheses, because if you just do negative 14 squared without parentheses on Desmos, it's going to tell you negative 196, but it's not. A negative times a negative is a positive. You need to put that in parentheses. So positive 196, negative 14 times b is negative 14b plus 196. Combine like terms. That would give me 0 equals negative 14b plus 392. How am I going to keep solving? Subtract 392 from both sides, giving me negative 392 equals negative 14b. Then divide both sides by negative 14, giving me x, oh sorry, not x, giving me 28 equals b. So my b value here would be 28x. That's one way to do this problem. Or if I know that negative 14 is its only 0, and the a value here is 1, me knows, and this is a double root, that both the factors must be x plus 14, x plus 14. How do I know that those are my two factors? Well, if negative 14 is only 0, right? If I set this factor equal to 0, that would give me negative 14. Well, couldn't I multiply this out? X plus 14 times x plus 14. (14 plus 14 is 28. So x squared plus 28x plus 196. So there's two ways to do this problem. Last thing, simplifying radicals. Remember, I'm trying to find what perfect square goes into 28. I can honestly stop here. So the highest perfect square that would go into 28 is 4. So we know that 2 times the square root of 4 times 7. 2 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 7. The square root of 4 is 2, so 2 times the square root of 7. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 square root of 7 is my simplified radical. So that is all the information you need to know. You also need to know the quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Other than that, you're going to do amazing. Take your time. Have a great day. Love you and miss you. Bye.